Welcome to the Standing Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs and Justice. My name is Blaine McLeod, the chair of this committee, and today we have with us the following members: Raquel Hilbert, Leroy Laliberty, the Honourable Jamie Martins. Sitting in for Betty Nippy-Albright will be Nicole Sauer, Megan Patterson, and Jacqueline Waugh. So, consideration of Bill number 26. Today we are going to be considering two bills, and we will first consider Bill number 26, the Miscellaneous Statutes Repeal Act 2025, beginning with the consideration of Clause 1, short title. Minister McLeod is here with his officials, and I'd ask, first of all, that you please introduce them. And before they speak the first time, and when they speak, to be introduced. And please do not touch the microphones as is usual. Hansards will look after that for you. So, Minister, please introduce your officials and make your opening comments, please.
Very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Joining me today, I have Darka Tkach, Crown Counsel Legislative Services, to my right, and Jared Pashevitz, Acting Registrar of Corporations, Office of the Public Registry Administration, to my left. Mr. Chair, I would now offer opening remarks for Bill 26, the Miscellaneous Statutes Repeal Act 2025. As part of the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General's red tape reduction commitment, this bill will repeal many outdated acts that no longer serve any purpose. Two public acts that are no longer needed will be repealed: the Companies Winding Up Act and the Saskatchewan Opportunities Corporation Act. The Office of Public Registry Administration has found over 114 private acts related to organizations that are no longer carrying on business or activities or continued under current legislation. In addition, 84 older private acts related to municipalities have been identified as no longer necessary. Research and consultations were carried out to ensure that these repeals will have no substantive impact on stakeholders or government. Relevant municipalities were all notified of the proposed repeals. Mr. Chair, with those opening remarks, I welcome questions respecting Bill 26, the Miscellaneous Statutes Repeal Act 2025.
Thank you, Minister. I will now open the floor to any questions. MLA Sauer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Minister, for your opening comments. I just have a few questions with respect to this bill. Minister, you had mentioned that there had been research and consultation regarding the repeal of these pieces of legislation. Could you provide some further information as to the work that happened and the feedback that was received?
Certainly. I'll start maybe with the private acts. The Office of Public Registry Administration did the consultation and investigation on that, so perhaps I'll let Jared speak to that.
Sure. So yeah, there were significant consultations that occurred for this matter. And sorry, I should follow the protocol. I'm Jared Pashevitz, and I'm the Acting Registrar of Corporations. And so essentially what happened was Oprah identified the entities that, and the legislation that created these entities that, that we felt were subject to this. And so the first step was for Oprah to actually look into the corporate registry and determine if these entities were active or not. And if they weren't, we'd follow up with further research involving archival work, looking at the historicals, seeing if there were any, any entities that they had subsequently, if they had subsequently I've lost my train of thought here. Let me restart.
Take your time.
Oh. I could make some comments.
Sure, I know I'm fine. Okay. But maybe start and I can fill in with some of them. Sorry,
I'm Darka Tkach, Crown Counsel at Legislative Services. So Oprah conducted quite a bit of research to find out if there was still any representative of an entity who could give instructions to repeal the act. And in some cases, we were able to find a representative who could give instructions. In other cases, if in the absence of a representative who could give instructions, Oprah conducted research. For example, they looked to see if the entity had continued under modern legislation, which in some cases it had. They looked at online historical sources or documents to see if there was a reference to the entity still being active or any membership in the entity. They checked to see if the entity was licensed or registered with FCAA, or if it was a registered charity still with Canada Revenue Agency, and if the entity was active at an Information Services Corporation. And if they could not find many references, the list of acts to be repealed was posted in the Saskatchewan Gazette. And anyone associated with those acts and entities was encouraged to contact Oprah. And no objections were made.
Thank you. For the entities that you were able to get in contact with, did you have any entities express a desire to keep their private act alive?
There were some entities, I believe, that we needed to have further discussion with them about whether or not they wished to have the act repealed. But if there were any concerns, we left it for now, and we could return to those later.
So just for clarification, to reiterate what you just said, any entities that you were able to speak with who were comfortable having their acts repealed are included. Any ones who had concerns are not included in this legislation?
Yes, any entities with whom we had to have further discussion were not included.
Could you explain for the committee why it may be necessary or not to maintain private acts for entities when they could theoretically easily file under the Nonprofit Corporations Act or the Business Corporations Act?
Usually, the reduction of private act entities is beneficial because private act entities are not held to the same standard as entities created under public acts. For example, there's no requirement for them to keep their information up to date or to do financial reporting. So, and also I should say, having out-of-date information in the corporate registry means that people relying on the corporate registry could have incorrect information there, and bad actors could use the entities for fraudulent purposes. So it is beneficial to reduce the number of private acts.
Is it the ministry's goal to reduce the amount of private acts to zero?
Well, there are a couple of options for further reducing the number of acts. Right now, Oprah has taken a research-based approach to determining if a private act should be repealed, but another option would be for the government to set a deadline and say that any entities still affected would need to continue as a nonprofit or continue as a business corporation and set a deadline for that to happen.
If I could, just on that point, I would say that it's the government intent to reduce red tape and to clean up old archaic acts that are no longer being used, not to address ones that are, simply because they're a private act. I would say that, as Darka outlined, any entity that even needed a further conversation isn't included in the legislation. These are all pieces of legislation that are archaic and unnecessary, and it's simply a red tape reduction exercise.
Could you speak a little bit further about next steps? You've indicated that there are some entities where further consultation is required. Could you talk about what the next steps are with respect to those entities and perhaps if there are any others that need to be addressed?
Currently, there's about 300 private acts on the King's Printer website. This bill would repeal about 198 of them, and that leaves about slightly over 100 private acts still in existence. And we would need to do further research on those, have further discussions with the entities. They are private act entities, sort of are considered other legislative entities and occupy kind of unique position. As I outlined, private act entities are not subject to the same regulatory oversight as public acts. So we would need to do some further work into the remaining acts.
I'm wondering, Mr. Pashovich or anybody else, if you could speak to the benefit that this red tape reduction will have for the corporate registry.
So the corporate registry is, it's relied upon to be accurate, right? As a registry officer, we want the most accurate information in that registry. The importance of bringing in some of these acts into our modern legislation, our Modern Business Corporations Act and Modern Nonprofit Corporations Act. There are mechanisms in that legislation that require those entities to file regularly. So file updated corporate information, addresses, that type of information. So from a integrity of the registry perspective, this is a great initiative. And the people of Saskatchewan rely on that information being accurate in the registries.
Thank you. No further questions.
Seeing no more questions, and thank you, we will proceed to vote on the clauses. Now the bit of the fun part. This bill has over 200 clauses, 202 to be exact. And if the committee is in agreement, we're going to review the bill by parts. So if that agreement is there, agreed, and we're in agreement, that still means that I have to initial each clause, all 202 of them. So it's going to take some time, but we have 4 parts, and the first 3 will go rather quickly. But that will save me from saying agreed and carried 198 times. So I appreciate that indulgence. So we'll get started here, and you'll have to be patient with me as I initial. I do have to initial as we go, and we'll get started right away here then. So clause 1, part 1, part 1 is the preliminary matters, and clause 1 short title is that agreed. Carried. And I will start my initialing. Part 2, public acts repealed. Clauses 2 to 3, are they agreed? Carried. Part 3, private acts repealed. Clauses 4 to 201, are they agreed? Carried. Now the fun part, where you get to watch me initial all these pages. And I'll start here, and I'm not sure what you're going to do for entertainment while I do this, but you go ahead. And Jessica's watching closely that I just get everyone, right? halfway there. Just about missed that one. Sitting there watching. And so, Part 4, coming into force, Clause 202, coming into force, is that agreed? Carried. His Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Legislative Assembly of Saskatchewan, enacts as follows: the Miscellaneous Statutes Repeal Act 2025. I would ask a member to move that we report Bill number 26, the Miscellaneous Statutes Repeal Act 2025, without amendment. MLA Jamie Martins moves. Honourable Jamie Martins moves. Is that agreed? Carried. Any closing comments by the minister or members?
No, I would just thank the committee for their consideration and the chair for his initialing exercise.
Thank you very much. Any closing comments?
Other than echoing the minister's comments and thanking the committee as well as yourself, Mr. Chair, and the officials for their thoughtful responses to my questions today. Thank
you so much. I note with interest in the ones that I initialed that my town of Karen, incorporated as a town, was repealed. Happy that we're still an organized hamlet, but I saw with interest that one was I was looking at the bill earlier today. So we're going to have consideration now of Bill number 27, the Statute Law Amendment Act 2025, a bilingual bill, Clause 1, short title. So if is there any new officials coming today? Okay. Then Minister MacLeod, please make your opening comments in regards to this bill, Bill number 20.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just say that staying with me at the table is Darka Tkach, and I will keep my opening remarks for Bill 27 brief. This bill simply makes housekeeping amendments to multiple bilingual acts as part of the government's ongoing commitment to review and update our legislation. This bill updates references to repealed legislation in the Constitutional Questions Act 2012 and the Small Claims Act 2016. Terminology will be updated and spelling errors corrected in the following: the Alcohol and Gaming Regulation Act 1997, the Enforcement of Maintenance Orders Act 1997, the Family Maintenance Act 1997, the International Child Abduction Act 1996, the King's Bench Act, and the Vital Statistics Act 2009. Section cross-references will be corrected in the Legislation Act and the Non-Profit Corporations Act 2022. I would note, Mr. Chair, that none of the proposed amendments are substantive. All are purely housekeeping in nature. With those opening remarks, I welcome any questions respecting Bill 27, the Statute Law Amendment Act 2025.
Thank you, Minister. I will now open the floor to questions. I recognize MLA Saar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Minister, for your opening remarks. Since you have already noted that there's nothing in the legislation that is creating any substantive changes, and all of this is housekeeping, my only question is what the ministry has planned for future housekeeping legislative amendments.
In this session or broadly as a government?
Broadly.
I would say that we do have a commitment to continue to reduce red tape and update legislation. I don't know if Darka wants to add any greater detail than that, but this is, as I indicated, largely just housekeeping, cleaning up legislation. And we have some incredible folks in the Justice Ministry that go through what many would consider quite tedious work, but it is very important work nonetheless. Darka, did you want to add anything?
Just that it was nice to have an opportunity to have a bilingual statutes amendment act this time.
Yeah, I understand this is work that happens, I believe, annually, or there's some sort of rotating list that the ministry goes through to ensure that there are housekeeping updates needed throughout. Is that correct?
As amendments are identified, we have a list and we continually update it.
No further questions.
Seeing no more questions, we will proceed to vote on the clauses. And this is a bilingual act. I'll be signing on both sides of the pages here. So Clause 1, short title, is that agreed? Carried. Clause 2, is that agreed? Carried. Clause 3, is that agreed? Carried. Clause 4, is that agreed? Carried. Clause 5, is that agreed? Carried. Clause 6, is that agreed? Carried. Clause 7, is that agreed? Carried. Clause 8, is that agreed? Carried. Clause 9, is that agreed? Carried. Clause 10, is that agreed? Carried. Clause 11, is that agreed? Carried. Clause 12, is that agreed? Oh, just a second. I got ahead of myself there. Thank you. Clause 12, coming into force, is that agreed? I thought we had another page. Agreed. Carried. His Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Legislative Assembly of Saskatchewan, enacts as follows: the Statute Law Amendment Act 2025, a bilingual bill. Both sides. Oh, sorry. There, yeah. I would ask a member to move that we report Bill number 27, the Statute Law Amendment Act 2025, a bilingual bill without amendment. MLA, the Honourable Jamie Martins moves. Is that agreed? Carried. Thank you, Minister, and the officials that were here today. Do we have any closing comments?
I would just like to thank Ms. Tkach for joining me at the table. Thank again the committee, yourself, Mr. Chair, the table officers, and Hansard for everybody's cooperation and participation today.
And MLA Sar, any closing comments?
I would like to echo the minister's thanks, first to yourself, Mr. Chair, all the committee members for their participation, Hansard for their help today, and as well as yourself, Minister, and all of your officials for your thoughtful responses to my questions today.
Super. Thank you, everyone, for such a concise, and we took exactly a half an hour. So that concludes our business for today. I would ask a member to move a motion of adjournment. MLA Patterson has moved. All agreed? Carried. This committee stands adjourned to the call of the chair. Thank you, everyone.